Hi, I told you we would start the series Whispers in the Wind after the first of the year. Well, we're here. I didn't share with you all what happened at home Christmas morning, but it ironically seems to go along now with this new series. To read what happened, go to my website, southernladyartist.com. Go to blogs, then to personal blog. Scroll down to Christmas morning 2015. We are all fine for now. I didn't like thunderstorms before, and now it's worse. I hope you all will enjoy this new series of fiction, nonfiction, past, present, with a strange twist. The character name Little Bit was my nickname given to me as a young teen. Chapter 1, Part 1. Little Bit sat at the mahogany vanity table. The upper half of her small petite frame shone in the mirror. "Not bad for a 40-year-old woman," she says out loud, as she leaned forward to look more closely at the tiny wrinkles just starting to form at the corner of her eyes. The creamy white complexion of her skin was still unblemished from all those years in the Louisiana sun. She had done well to protect herself from the sun, like all Southern women who valued that pure white skin tone. She leaned back on the stool, knocking the hairbrush from the table. As she leaned over to pick it up, she felt a gentle kiss on the back of her neck. "Gary, don't start anything you can't finish," she grinned as she sat upright. She looked in the mirror, but only the empty room and her own image was reflected. She turned and looked around the room, with a frown crossing her face. It was good she and her family were going on vacation today. She had felt for some time that if she had to stay home and endure any more of the problems of the previous weeks, she would be headed for a nervous breakdown. Housekeeping and the night shift at work together had gradually and steadily worn her down. She had that feeling of being kissed on the neck before, while she was at the old home place in southern Louisiana. Little Bit did not want one more wrinkle from the stress. Sound sleep had become a thing of the past. She slept enough hours each night, but there was no quality sleep. Since childhood, fatigue seemed to have always initiated fragmented dreams of people and desert places that Little Bit knew nothing about. During electrical storms, they seemed to have more intense reality. This year, there had been more than the usual number of storms in North Louisiana, where she now lived. They were dreams of the West, of wagon trains and Indians. They were of a different time era, around 2 centuries ago. She rode a horse bareback that seemed hauntingly familiar, though she had never been around horses in her life. Always in the dreams there was a handsome man with delicate features, but with brown skin and dark black hair. In her heart he seemed to have a special place. At times she would see him racing across the desert with his long black hair flowing in the wind. She seemed to be chasing him across the mazes until he would vanish before her eyes. She would awaken with a longing in her heart. She would snuggle up to Gary, her husband. She knew where her love was, there beside her. She finished dressing and walked from the bedroom to the living room by way of a raised walkway. And the living room was the result of her fascination with Indian culture. There were items she had made herself. On the wall was a dream catcher, a circular creation of feathers with an angel in the center that was supposed to catch pretty dreams. She had the living room walls tastefully decorated with pictures, carvings, and all sorts of nice Indian items. Rays of sunset poured through the huge skylight of the cathedral ceiling, forming patterns on the rough stone floor. Outside, Gary and the boys had just finished loading the van. "Mark, go ask your mom how much longer she is going to be before she is ready. I am ready for something to eat," Gary said as he lifted the last piece of luggage into the van. I am ready," Little Bit said. "If you guys would help a little more around the house, I would not have so much to do before we leave." Finally they piled up into the van and headed on their trip out west. "Dad, can we go to Canyon de Chelly before we come back? I hear that is sometimes called the Little Grand Canyon," Mark says as he leans on the back of his dad's seat. "Don't start pulling on the back of my seat before we even get out of town," growled Gary. "I have seen the pictures of the cliff dwellings and a picture of a porta potty at the bottom of the canyon. I heard Grandma says she was very glad to see it," Lynn chuckled. "Guys, let me take a nap. The storm kept me awake last night. Hey, Mark, hand me the water jug, and try not to irritate your dad," she directs as she stuffs a pillow against the door. Gary glanced over at his pretty wife. She'll be asleep for the next few hours. No wonder she looks so young at 40, he thought. The maxi van is now heading down the highway towards Colorado. Hope to get part 2 uploaded soon. Thanks for watching.